Hey everyone, this podcast is part of Story Mode, the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. You can support us and gain access to other great exclusive podcasts at patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Hello, everybody.
Hey everyone.
My name is David Bell,
I'm Tom Reimann.
I'm Marina Reimann.
and we just watched Alita Battle Angel.
Yeah, Battle Angel
Batangel.
Alita,
Batangel.
also known as Ganmu, which is Japanese for Gun Dream.
Get out.
Okay.
You told me the story of the war, when the ground shook and the sky burned. Of the ones that survived, who awoke to a different world, where the powerful prey on the weak. But that's not the way it has to be.
Pack your nerd suitcase up and
Sorry,
leave.
I'll leave.
Um,
Seriously, though, based on a cyberpunk manga by Yukito Kishiro in 1990. Published in Business Jump, I think. Yeah.
so, what do people think about this?
I love how we all sucked our teeth
Can I?
immediately.
All right, I'm getting a read already from the room.
I think I liked it.
I liked the beginning, and I feel like it fell apart.
I'm gonna go ahead. I was where you were.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it was bad.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm with Dave.
It's I actually wrote notes while we were waiting via Best Bad Movie Ever, where I was like, I need to have a collection.
Yeah.
I have one main question.
Mm-hmm.
What was the conflict?
Yeah.
What did the hero want?
She wanted to recover her memories, but yeah, there's
But then not. Yeah, this movie
What
goes.
did the villain want?
This movie goes in a lot of insane directions.
Yeah,
That's part of the essential problem is that the villain, Nova, Dusty Nova, thus named because of the song Astronomy by Blue Oyster
Yeah.
Cult, he's not a villain all the way in the actual manga. He becomes, he's neutral kind of.
Right. Well,
that might happen.
Well, maybe, but just
There's
based on what happens in the movie, he is absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
He collects people's brains.
Yeah, and he starts that way apparently,
Yeah.
but he turns, like the focus
Yeah.
apparently shifts away from Ito as the father figure and more toward him as the series goes on. But I feel like that's part of what made this a weak movie is that, and also, I'll get to that later, but
Well,
I just thought it was nonsense. Like, there's parts of it I liked, but it is a bad movie in terms of how a movie is supposed to be.
yeah. There's like 5 different storylines.
Yep, and none of them really get tied up except for Hugo, and I was so ready for him to be gone immediately.
That was
Is Hugo the guy who I think we're supposed to like,
Yeah,
even
we're
though
supposed
she's
to like
betraying
him.
her
He's
the
a
whole time?
he's a real
He's a
scumbag.
monster. Yeah,
Yeah.
he
There-
takes people's limbs.
Yeah.
It's horrifying.
That's the worst. I think that's the worst part of this movie is that love story.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because she's 100% into him for no
Yeah,
reason.
none.
Yeah.
And then as soon as she gets back like some of her memories and gets put into a better body, she's like immediately like, we should get up to the floating city together. I can
Yeah.
hunt some bounties and get money for you. Or you want my heart? You can sell my heart. Like she
That-
literally is
I'm
giving
glad-
giving
I'm glad
him
you remembered that
her
because-
heart.
Won't she die?
She said she could get a replacement one. I don't know.
I don't
thing that
know.
blows-
This is
Yeah, I walked out to go to the bathroom and
Yeah.
I came back and she's about to sell her heart. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
it also that goes to a key part of this is that there is no conflict in this movie.
Not
She's
really.
like, I can just
I'm
rip
never
out my heart
worried
and give
about
it to
her.
you. Yes,
Never.
I'm never worried about anything. Her love interest. I went to the bathroom when there was like a battle scene, and it's because it was so low stakes, and because they didn't really
Yeah.
make me like the characters. I was like, I gotta pee, and just like went pee while that was happening, and came back, and he was like in her arms. I was like, oh, good, he's dead.
Yeah.
And then
finally.
they just bring
Finally.
him, but then they just throw his head on a robot, and it was like,
Yeah.
oh, I guess. And then like the part where she gets hit in the limb near the end, and
Yeah.
then
Like,
it, or,
she's
and then it just
fine.
regenerates,
Yeah,
and it's like,
we already saw her. We saw
Yeah.
that she wasn't even conscious, and she regenerated. Like it's like,
Well,
it's
it
that Matrix thing.
It
It's her
reshaped her body. It
subconscious.
didn't
Yeah.
regenerate her.
Oh,
But that's
okay.
the same thing.
Yeah, I mean,
the same.
I don't know. I didn't know she could regenerate until they showed it to us.
Right.
Well, they show it to you on the table. Like her thoughts are
she can
building her
shapeshift,
body.
yeah.
Right,
It's
it-
made of nanotechnology, which means it can reshape itself because the particles are so small. They're just, like she's basically covered in a bunch of cyber bugs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, me watching the movie, I didn't read that as she's Wolverine.
Word.
Like, I didn't read that like she would just immediately regenerate a wound.
Man,
Yeah,
I did.
I mean, they
Okay,
then
well, I
showed
did
it.
not.
They then showed it, but I think the moment, and I guess I'm going to say spoilers.
Well, obviously, we always spoil the movie.
I'm going to say, I was about to say, maybe don't see this movie, people, but
nah.
so spoilers might not matter. I don't know. It depends on you, but the ending when it reveals Edward Norton. And he's wearing that crazy goggles. He takes it off, and his hair is hilarious. That was when it occurred to me, like, oh, this is the Hunger Games. And I don't hate the Hunger Games. I enjoy it, but they're dumb movies. Mm-hmm. They're
that's one of the
like, this is a young adult romantic dystopian
sort of
Yeah.
film.
like
This
part of it
doesn't
is
really make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like it's
What gets me is that this movie was not for us, but the manga was written when you and I, you guys, I was
Right.
a little wee bairn, but when you guys would have been, about the right age to enjoy this. This is for teenagers. It totally is. But
Yeah.
teenagers who were born in the 80s, except that we're not teenagers anymore.
Yeah.
We're 30 and 40 or
but
whatever.
the teenagers watching this probably won't care.
Yeah. Because Hugo's dreamy.
Hugo's a dick.
He is. I
I'm
hated
glad
him
he's
immediately.
dead.
Yes.
I'm glad he died
So
twice.
I was like, "Oh my god, girl, get away from him!"
Yeah, why? It's
He's
like
bad.
literally the first boy she sees.
Yeah, this is the first, I think, issue with this character. She wakes up. She has no memory.
No.
And she's just like, "Hi, everybody! I'm
Yeah.
excited to be here. Let's get started with the movie." And like, she never seems like she's never like, "What the fuck is everything? What's going on?" She sort of just accepts the world.
Yeah.
Christoph Waltz is just like, "I'm your father now," and she's like, "Okay," and like, he tells her what to do, and she's just sort of like,
Well, that part's the only part I bought.
I guess well, I know why he did it, but I just mean like she's a robot that wakes up without a memory and instantly is just like, I live here now. I'm accepting all this. And then like there's no real conflict to her attitude.
No, and
No.
she just suddenly. What bothered me the most is how she suddenly fits in with the world. She figured it all out. That scene in the Hunter Warrior pub. That bothered me because she's
Yeah.
suddenly super cool and clever and wordy and witty, and it's like, where did that come from?
That's okay. That's the scene where I realized where the fuck, because she goes in the bar and she gives a speech of like, join me in fighting this
Yeah.
person. When did she want to fight that person?
Who the hell?
I
is
don't know.
this?
Okay.
He said he was gonna.
He threatened to come back. Yeah.
Yeah, Grishnak is a gigantic robot
Gruishka.
man.
Oh, that's Grishnak, and she
Whatever.
was just going after him.
Gruishka.
Yeah, Gruishka.
He attacked them. Ito brings his bloodborne outfit and his
How is he fighting crime?
with a rocket
with a
powered hammer.
rocket powered hammer. Christoph Waltz has
As
a
one
rocket powered
does.
hammer.
Yeah.
No, she goes. I thought that was an example, like her going into the bar. I thought that was an example of her not understanding how the world works because she
was.
tried. It worked on Jeff Fahey, and that's it.
It ended up working.
And even that wasn't even. It was because Grishnak killed the little dog. Is the only reason Jeff Fahey.
Yeah.
cared.
Yeah, I guess what I mean is she was so cool in that scene. She was too cool. Like
She never
that,
seems
I was
new.
like,
Because
exactly.
she's
Well, the
not.
first-
She's-
Never
yeah.
uncertain.
Yeah.
She's never uncertain, and she really should be.
Yeah,
And
should be. But
There was the bar point was actually a point where I was like, oh, maybe I'll like this, because that's another note I have. Why did Robert Rodriguez direct this? Did we need him to direct this?
I don't know.
There's
didn't-
nothing in it that's like
I didn't
Robert Ro-
detect him.
Yeah.
I did in the action sequences.
They actually, yeah, I could see a little of
Robert
that.
Rodriguez.
I'm not saying like it wasn't badly directed or anything. It felt like almost a waste of him because it
That's-
was very normal.
That is exactly the word I would use to describe so much of this
Yeah.
movie.
Again-
Like, wasteful. It was a very wasteful movie.
Yeah, I'm not complaining that he directed it because I'm sure he contributed a lot that made it good, right? Mm-hmm. It just didn't feel like it felt like they just sort of tamped down his style. Like it didn't feel like a Rodriguez movie a lot of it.
It felt like it didn't feel like this movie knew exactly what it was trying to be. And so that's why it didn't.
Yeah.
The
Definitely
ending
got
was
that.
so bad because the movie needs to be strong to support an ending like that.
It ends on like a time lapse, and then like
she's
don't know.
about to. It's like it's a movie that ends before the climax.
Yeah, it ends before the final battle.
Yeah.
There
She's
is
about
no
she's about
climax.
to win motorball and get to go
like
up to
that
the floating city to fight Edward Norton,
Yeah.
who looks like James Cameron in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
and should have been.
It should have been James Cameron. That would have been a lovely
That would
meta
have
joke.
kind of made up for the whole movie.
Yeah,
James
it's funny
Cameron.
when they had
Yeah.
the underwater ship. I was like, "There he is."
That's
Can't
Jim Cameron.
resist.
Yeah. I didn't hate the movie. I do agree that tonally, yeah, it is all over the place. It's like
the
5
worst.
different kinds of movies.
I hated the movie once I went online and saw that it has a 90% where like
Oh yeah, like 96%
from
of
from
Google users.
from audiences where it's like it was a very dumb movie, and the plot was kind of
The
non-existent.
plot was gibberish.
It's a gibberish. It's a Jupiter Ascending type
Yes.
movie.
It wasn't.
But here's the
it's better
thing.
than Jupiter Ascending.
Well, I think you would have hated it as much, or people would have hated it as much if they were like, let's tack another like half hour on this.
Yes.
Yeah. If it had been any longer,
Yeah.
we really would have been angry.
yeah.
And the action scenes are good.
Yes.
The
Yes.
action scenes are good. It just for me it was like I didn't care, like they didn't give me any conflict.
Yeah.
She's not in
Yeah,
danger. Really
stuff just
ever.
kind of happens.
Yeah.
Like
And then they go after Hugo. They should have gone after Ito if they wanted to fuck
Yeah.
with her. Like Ito's never in trouble.
I like-
I thought they were
Yeah.
gonna like. Why doesn't Nova go after her father figure instead of her stupid drapey boyfriend?
because he has Hugo in his
I couldn't
pocket.
figure out what anybody knew about anybody else.
No, me neither.
Like the part where I think when she's like cut, she gets like her.
She gets bisected.
Yeah, she
pretty
gets
badly,
bisected.
yeah.
And he's carrying her out of the bar, and Jennifer Connelly, who just keeps showing up places,
Yeah.
She sure does.
like a ghost.
yeah.
Well,
It's
she
just
she knows
there.
Grishnak was going to be there.
Yeah, I'm not saying
Grishka.
Grishka, whatever.
Yeah, it's sort of fine, but they don't. I don't know. She just keeps popping up in the scenes.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
But it's always
and she
it's
says
always
something to Christoph Waltz, and he looks at her, and it's like, does he know she's bad?
yes.
Then why isn't anybody like they just sort of walk?
Nothing you
each
can
other-
do about it.
I guess.
He can't. He's. I
So
think
she
his-
does know because then the other guy, Hugo recognizes the stuff that he stole
yes.
on the guy. He never tells anybody.
Nope.
No.
And I was like,
I
does
would
he
take
not
that shit
has-
to the grave.
Well, he's
if
like,
I was
yeah, I
Hugo.
guess, but it was like I couldn't.
Jennifer Connelly
I couldn't
shows
figure
up.
out because then they're at the racing and they just sort of see each other, and it was just like,
Oh, yeah, 'cause she
are
works
these
with-
guys gonna
she works
start
with Vector
Fighting?
and-
Like they
Nah.
must know they're.
Well, the battle's already over between them. That's the thing. They had a conflict. It's over. We're seeing the aftermath.
I just don't get when like why characters keep like running into each other in other scenes and they're not like fighting or like they don't seem
Which
angry.
character?
Like when she's at the race and she sees Jennifer Connelly,
She's never met her before.
No.
She saw her. She saw.
so she doesn't know that
No.
she's bad.
No.
She
she has
saw.
no
She
idea.
saw Christoph Waltz meet her
yeah.
Okay.
earlier,
When
and
does
then-
she
and
know to go after them?
she knows to go after Vector after Hugo is killed, basically. and
Okay,
has
so
his head put on a
he
robot
tells
body.
her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I assume during the very hasty surgery, the very
Yeah.
masterful surgery.
On a pretty shitty robot.
Yeah.
Should have worked on those arms better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very poetic that he got torn apart in the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah. Of
That
course.
was the best thing I
Yeah.
thought. That was the only payoff in this movie to me was
Yeah.
okay. Hugo finally gets his just desserts. He gets literally torn
Yeah, it was
apart.
appropriate for
Yeah.
because Hugo is he and his friends run around tasing cyborgs and stripping them of parts
Yeah.
and selling them for money, which
and
is like a
leaving
huge
their
industry.
torsos in the street.
Yep, just leaving them in the
Yeah.
street.
Fucking
So yeah,
awful.
he's a terrible man.
Yes. Yeah, and
But
he
she's
knows.
immediately smitten with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was
just because. Yeah.
It's like, hey, it's the first guy. Yeah, that's the part that I hated.
Yeah, me too.
Their
I
relationship was
could've-
so confusing. To
Yeah.
me.
It was so it was just so forced as well. I
Yeah.
was just like, nah, and it felt gross. Like, and when she's like, I have more sensitive nerves now. I can feel different textures. You know what that means?
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah,
that,
she still
that
doesn't-
whole thing
she's-
creeped me out because
yeah.
she has like
Yeah.
a pre-teens,
Yes.
a tween's body when he
Yeah.
meets her.
She's not even full. Yeah.
And he's still like, hey. So I sort of
Yeah.
assumed at that point, I was like, oh, they must be the same age and the casting's wrong. And then they just stick a woman's body at
Yep.
halfway through and they're like, check it out, everybody.
Yeah.
And it was like, why do you want me to be aroused right now by this movie? Like, I'm so.
I think they do.
And then he's like, hey. And I'm like, okay, how old are you? Like, because
I
she
got-
could
I got
just
the-
swap her bodies for an older one. And he's just like, there we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was just weird.
When I was a little kid, I saw Battle Angel Alita, the actual manga, and I didn't realize this till we were getting out of the theater, and I was looking it up, and I saw the picture, and it's her with her parts hanging out, and she's got wings. It was very sexual. When I was a kid, I thought it was porn. So yeah, you're definitely supposed to be aroused.
Yeah, to their credit, they took.
It could have been worse.
Yeah, they took most of the sexuality out of it.
I loved the design of her beginning body. It was beautiful with those inlaid carvings and everything.
Yeah,
That
it was.
I
Yeah,
loved.
you know, as Christoph Waltz had made it for his paralyzed
daughter.
daughter.
Yeah, that was great. I just wish they'd cut Hugo out completely. I wish we hadn't had to deal with that. We would have had.
You
more
could have
time
You could
for
have written
cool-
that. You could have written that character better.
Yeah.
Like it just their relationship is only, hey, we're the two attractive leads. We
Yeah.
should
Exactly.
be
Also,
boyfriend and
everyone
girlfriend.
is attractive. Did
Oh,
you
yeah.
notice that? All his friends
Yeah.
are gorgeous.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
everyone in this movie is
Everyone
handsome.
in Iron City is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Well, all right, that brings me to another question. Why is Iron City bad? Because the movie, they show one Ed 209.
No, there's a lot.
I only saw one at the beginning that's walking through the street. She saves it from the dog. And then it later shows up.
There's a bunch
later
that
when
show up
she's
to
in the
arrest
thing.
her, and then she destroys a bunch
Yeah,
when she
but
goes to
they're
fight
not-
Mahershala
The
Ali.
Centurions?
Yeah, what I guess I mean is that there's no looming presence of them. Everybody in the city seems to be happy and fine.
Yeah.
Like him and Jennifer Connelly just like go to a cafe and talk.
Mm-hmm.
Christoph Waltz. And so I was sitting there like, is this dystopian or is it just like a classist thing where they want to go up there? Then the weirdest thing happens where they're like, so you want to go on a hike? And they just leave. And it's beautiful.
I know.
And,
I was like, why doesn't anyone live out there?
yeah, and they're just like, oh, there's no like technology out here. And I was
So
like, who?
what?
It's
I
pro-
don't
I
understand.
assume it's because they can't. It's sort of like the slave satellite to the floating city, because they say that everybody works for the factory.
If
The
that's
factory
the
is
case,
Nova, so like
Then why can they just leave? They just
it
left.
seems pretty easily the entrance and exit. I saw a line of people to get into this city, but it seems like anyone can just leave.
Yeah, it seemed.
Yeah, but,
there was
like-
no. They didn't sneak out. There was nothing.
No.
They just sort of walked out of the city,
yeah.
And they're kids.
and there's like farm stuff out there.
The jungle, it's beautiful. It looked
I
like
just-
Horizon Zero Dawn. There was some undertones here. I kept just seeing it. It was like, okay.
Well, they do mention farms.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's basically like a Google town, because they all work
Yeah.
for Nova's factory company.
Yeah.
I guess maybe because I got into this movie about a minute late, so maybe there's some like.
Not really. All you missed was Christoph Waltz poking through the junkyard.
Okay, so
Yep.
I didn't miss shit because
Nope.
I kept thinking like, oh, maybe they explained this at the beginning.
No, it's a
No.
brief title card that says like 300 years in the future. That's it.
Because yeah,
Christoph.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
I was just I didn't understand why the world was very dystopian either. It's sort of like in the Star Wars prequels when they're like talking about the war, but everybody just looks like they're fine
Yeah.
the whole time.
Well, it was 300 years ago.
Yeah.
And apparently, but that's what gets. If it's 300 years in the future, and they're saying that the Mars Republic battle happened 300 years ago, are they saying that people right now in that 2019?
Yeah, we're about to get a Mars battle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No,
Mars
I
is
don't.
about to attack us.
I mean, they said all the other floating cities fell.
Yeah.
I just assume it's the same reason why any of us don't just walk out of Los Angeles and go live in the land.
I guess it was that one of those things where it was just like.
And we don't live under a lush jungle. We are in the desert.
Yeah, but I
guess
mean, like,
it felt like the thing where it's like, oh, is there just a whole other like the rest of the world's just having
Yeah.
a great time?
I was wondering
'Cause-
because why aren't there some people like you'd think there'd be a tiny little community out there?
Right.
well, we
That's
definitely
the
know there are
thing.
farmers out there.
If I was living in that city and it's dystopian, I would certainly go out.
Hell
to the
yeah.
woods. Because like I don't go out in the woods now because it's I get
Yeah, we can
cable
make a
and shit.
living.
Because it's the woods.
But like people live in the country and stuff. It was
Yeah.
just very. The only motivation they give is that there's no tech out there.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. You could live off the land. There's no like radiation damage
Yeah,
or anything like
like-
that.
I mean, we see like 95% of people have cybernetic augments.
Right.
So, like, I imagine going off the grid is not really an option.
Right, but they're not the whole world,
No,
right?
they're
that
just this
city.
one city, right?
Yeah.
Well,
I guess that's
It's unclear.
it's
Yeah.
very unclear and it
there were other cities. Yeah. I don't know. I know that the were good guys, and
Yeah.
Also,
the Martians were
Yeah.
the good guys.
Yeah.
but like
Clearly.
Anybody
believe-
else? Anybody else catch the Jerusalem reference?
No.
To Salem City. Yeah, they changed it. That's not what it was in the Japanese. I can't remember what it was called in Japanese, but
It's okay.
yeah.
they changed it. It was similar. It was a biblical thing.
Oh, okay.
Huh.
It's-
No,
so
it
there's
was
like
when
there's an overcity called Jeru in the
Oh,
North
okay.
American. So there's
Right.
Jeru and Zalim.
Like a movie like Blade Runner.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I've
the
seen
same
a few
question. in
things that
Blade
was
Runner.
like someone on Twitter was like, no, but it's not. That's what I was going to get to. Is that a movie like Blade Runner? Because I've seen this compared to it a little bit. You see the outside, like especially in the new one, and
The
it's
new
all
one you do,
garbage,
yeah.
and you
Yeah.
get the impression of like, okay, the whole world is kind of like this. Like, and it's not a trapped dystopia. It's not a police state in Blade Runner. It's just like this is a city in the
Yeah.
future and things suck. Here, it felt like it was like a police state, and it was like
Yeah.
they had those
factory law.
yeah. But then they just leave and it's beautiful out. And so that's why, like, and they don't show any conflict in doing that.
No.
So it seems like the rest, like they could have easily just made the rest of the world look shitty,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Instead, they made it beautiful.
And instead they made it beautiful and accessible. And that's what was so weird about that choice.
Yeah. I felt that was very strange as well. And there's no, like, unless you're a hunter warrior, it didn't seem like there was any, like, identification that you'd need to, to get in and
Yeah.
out of the city. No.
I mean, I assume they have, I don't know, scans of some kind. It's like,
Yeah, but they didn't
Yeah.
show us anything.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't know. I felt like this movie was a very large collection of almosts. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was almost this and almost that, and so much work went to waste.
Yeah, I was going to say this movie needed a rewrite. And I think it
Yeah.
would have been pretty good if they rewrote a lot. Like,
Yeah.
if it needed like one more pass, maybe two.
yeah, it was. It's no fooling. There's like 5 stories.
Yeah.
It's a weird.
Well, it makes sense when you think about this, where it came from, because there's a whole bunch of
Yeah, sure.
chapters in the different. They're different manga and different, and
Right.
stuff goes crazy in all directions. But they needed to pick one.
Yeah,
And stick with it.
The motorball was shocking to me.
Yeah,
I was pretty into that.
I mean, well, that's the thing.
I was like, why would anyone play this?
I started.
You got to be a
getting into it-
sweet robot.
Yeah, they start it. They start when they're playing street motorball.
Yeah.
and that was that weird moment of like, wait, is this a thing that's going to be in this movie? Like, this is
Sure
a plot
is.
point of this movie. At first, I thought like, is this like Catwoman the basketball scene where she's just going to kick ass and we're going to move on?
Yeah.
But they keep talking, and then the bad guys are like running motorball, and I was like, is this a sports movie? Is this rollerball?
Part of it.
Yeah.
And Ito's like, you don't need to be watching this.
Yeah.
Nothing you need to waste your time on or watch.
Oh,
yeah,
he
because-
didn't want her watching Motorball.
Right, because the motorball guy murdered his daughter.
Right, until he's suddenly fine with it. I
Yeah.
noticed that.
That was so weird. He was
I-
suddenly
There's
supportive.
a part where she's just like, I'm going to make money by motorball, hard cut, and his assistant who's there now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they're just like lacing her up for motorball. And I was like, this feels like it cut over a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I took that as his arc. Because he starts as, you're not going to do anything.
Yes.
You're not going to
Yeah.
remember who you are, and then he refuses to put her head onto her
Well-
own body. And then he's like the end of that is being like, well, you have to make your own choices and live your own life. But he
Yeah.
still is like doting when he puts the
Yeah.
armor on her and gives her the he's got to wear this helmet now.
Yes.
Again, it needed one more pass because I get that. Well, it was a moment I liked was when he was protective of her, and then
Oh,
when he
God,
saw
yeah.
what she could do, he lets her wait outside the building. She's
Yep.
like, try not to kill anyone.
Yeah.
Where he's
I
like,
like that.
okay, I don't need to worry about her.
Yeah.
I guess the thing was, I still thought the conflict was because a motorball guy killed his daughter.
Yes.
I thought he was scared that she would become a monster.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
Like,
He is.
you're going to become my worst protege.
Yeah.
Well,
That
that's
was his
what that's
fear.
when he puts her on the berserker body, the berserker Mars body that she finds in
Oh,
the
yeah,
down
that's
spaceship.
why he's scared.
He straight up says, "This is just a shell.
Yeah, you
it's,
choose
yeah,
whether to
it's
be
not
good.
good or bad.
Yeah.
It depends on you." So that's like him accepting that. Her figuring out that she's a warrior doesn't necessarily mean she's going to be like a crazy murderous lunatic and just destroy things.
Although that
I
is
think
exactly
what, it
what
is,
she does.
Yeah, she destroys bad people.
I think
Yeah.
what it is though is I think that everything goes in the wrong order because
Yeah.
he needed to see because it's like he
didn't
sees proof
see
that
the
she can
stuff.
handle herself, but then he still won't put the suit on her, and then she gets hurt. And
then
he
he
puts
puts
it on her, but he could have put another body, as we learn, on her at that point. So we never see
Put
him
her on
like
that
we
fucking
never see
rickety
him.
thing they stick
Yeah.
Hugo's head on.
Yeah, it was one of those things where it's, and then that like it felt like they were, felt like there's some scenes missing or something.
Yeah.
They were
Probably.
trying to-
I feel like there was a talk
Yeah.
they needed to have that they did not have
something.
about that body. 'Cause
Yeah.
he gave her the body before telling her this is neither good nor bad, and I feel like they should have had a bit of a talk. But
Yeah.
I guess
Well,
they
I mean,
didn't.
he couldn't. She was sort of dying.
He kept her alive.
She was chopped apart.
Yeah, but that didn't stop her from.
Yeah,
don't know.
I don't know. I thought in terms of that was in the right space.
I don't know. It just felt everything. There was a lot of abruptness to this movie to me.
If this had just been a sports movie, I would have accepted that.
Yeah,
But it needed to be one or the other.
and they couldn't really choose. And I wish they'd not. It was very clear to me that they were trying to set this up for a sequel that I don't think is ever going to happen because it's not strong enough.
I don't
It's
know.
just
We'll
not.
see how much money it makes.
Yeah.
People, like I said, people seem to like it. I don't think people care, but it is kind of gibberish.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it's also just kind of. See, this is why I don't hate the movie because I just found it to be a fundamentally bad movie, but like I'm frustrated by it because I like the idea of doing like a dumb dystopia. It's a Running Man plot where she plays motorball to
Yeah.
beat the villain who is Edward Norton with hilarious hair.
With glasses.
But that's not all this is, and they sort of blue ball you on that, where it's like we don't.
Exactly.
I was
There's
like,
no
I can't.
climax.
Yeah, I was like, I can't wait for the. Like you said, it ends before that happens.
Yeah, it ends right before the
And
final
it's like
battle.
I couldn't fucking wait for the stupid motorball scene
Yeah.
where he's like shaking his fist and stuff. But that the only version of that happens like in the middle, and then
Yep.
they just sort of abandon the scene.
Yeah, it's sort of like the movie is over and then the rest is just an epilogue. The movie ends when Hugo falls and the rest is just, okay, we're going to have
Yeah.
a sequel now.
Mm-hmm.
Please give us money.
And again, there's no conflict. She finally faces the I forgot about this.
You know, Francis?
She finally faces the bad guy, and she just cuts him in half immediately.
yeah.
And then this was a weird thing to me is that she stabs the puppet of the bad
Mahershala,
guy.
Vector.
yeah.
And she's like, "I killed your puppet." Did that feel like kind of dark? I know he's a bad
little,
guy.
I actually like
but
that part.
Is a little dark, but he was a real bad guy.
He
Yeah.
was, but like I know he was a real bad guy.
Yeah.
But he's begging for his life, and then he gets puppeted by the bad guy, and then she stabs him. So it's like last time we checked in with him, he was begging for his life.
But that's her job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's-
I'm not saying it was
she's
a
a-
conflicting moment, but it
Sure.
was just like this feels dirty.
I felt great. I thought it was awesome because it was like, yes, she's a killer. That is exactly her job. She is a
Right.
warrior. This is war.
I also didn't think it was weird when she cuts Grishnak. Is that his name?
Gruishka.
She cuts him right down.
She
the
cuts him
middle.
right in half, but that's the third time they've fought.
I know.
Yeah.
And she has her berserker suit now, and
the sword.
that sword that she steals from Ed Skrein.
I guess
Francis.
it's that at
Yeah.
that point there didn't feel like she was beatable ever. Like even when she
Yeah.
gets chopped up, she still gets the
Yeah.
better of him.
She
Wh-
does.
that was
Immediately.
pretty fucking sweet.
That was
That
pretty
was
sweet.
an awesome fight. Yeah.
Again,
She has
every
one
fight.
goddamn arm left and just
Yeah, she
launches her
lands
arm
on
into his
on her
eye.
hand. That was so cool.
Yeah,
I thought that
it's-
was pretty sweet.
that felt like it could have been a final battle. Every
Yeah.
battle felt like it was the final battle because she beats them every
Yeah,
time.
She beats the living shit out of them.
Yeah, and
every
that
time.
and that middle time it was like they cut her up, and I thought like, oh, this is the dark third act.
Yeah.
she's gonna get captured or something, and then she's just like, nope,
Nope. I'm immortal.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, okay, like
Yeah.
that, and then they just are like, here's a better body.
I wish there had been more.
No conflict, no.
Yeah, I wish there had been more about the whole you have to choose to be good or choose to because the
Yeah.
whole love story takes that away from her. It takes away some agency.
It
I
could've-
feel like because she's just
It could have been
She's on
morality. Yeah.
Hugo's side because she loves Hugo,
Right.
not because it's the right thing to do.
Like I would have liked a moment when she is killing that
Yeah.
guy, the puppet guy, to have it's a moral choice.
Yes, exactly. I want her to go a
because
little
she-
mad with power and realize what she's doing and be like, "Oh God, I
Exactly,
can't do
because
this."
that's what Christoph Waltz is scared about.
yeah. That I would have loved if they'd stuck with that.
Again, a solid rewrite. Get rid of Hugo.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to get rid of it because I understand the purpose of his character.
Just don't.
But
Or make him go full heel. Like
yeah, or
maybe
I mean,
start off as the love interest and have that like
yeah,
he's betraying her.
Yeah.
He's like the sniveling sidekick to the villain who gets murdered.
Yeah, it was so.
I mean, he kind of is. It's just I think, yeah, their relationship is forced and poorly written.
Yes, jeez.
So
it was uncomfortable.
like I get it. Like they wanted to show that she's
human.
yeah, or like
Yeah.
she's like willing to be totally selfless.
Yeah.
But
But we already
man,
saw
it's
that.
not earned
No.
for old Hugo.
Yeah.
No, and we already saw that when she went after she followed Ito thinking he was a murderer and she was going to go save these strangers from this man.
Yeah.
And so that to me is already selfless. This is
Yeah.
the one person you know who knows how to fix you, the only one who cares about you, and you might have to stop him.
Mm-hmm.
And that was cool, but
Yeah.
I think they could have gone with that, but they went with Hugo.
There's a lot of things they could have gone with. What'd you guys think of her face? In terms of the effect?
Of the effects, it was fine. It was a fine look.
Her teeth were weird.
I thought it was a little floaty. Like in the sense of
Her hair was wrong. Her hair was very
yeah.
fake looking.
It's one of those things that I could see the filmmakers being like, well, she's a robot. She's not supposed to look real, but she looked a little fake to me, not in the she's made of a different material
Yeah, no,
of
but
like
in the
I don't
this
think
is
her
bad.
face exists.
Yeah,
It wasn't all the time. It was pretty damn good.
it was.
But that's a hard. I think they CGI'd the entire face, right?
Yeah, I looked some stuff.
Yeah.
She's wearing a rig the entire
Yeah.
time that has. Just
Yeah, they
around- It's
probably-
like a headband, and she's got the dots on, and
Her
yeah.
mouth was weird to me. The
Yeah.
eyes were fine, but the
I-
mouth was sort of like almost rodent.
I don't know why they didn't just CGI the eyes. Maybe it doesn't work that way. Maybe it's
No.
easier. It was one of those things because that's a tall fucking order. The face is the most. It's what we all relate
And there
to.
are so many muscles in the face that move for even
Yeah.
even if they just CG'd the eyes, it would have looked bad because we
Yeah, I don't.
facial muscles.
I don't know if it was worth the big eyes. Like, it was pretty good, but it's our main character, so it's like
Yeah.
that's taking a huge risk.
It didn't bother me.
That's good. Yeah, it didn't bother me for most of it, but it was also I didn't care.
I didn't-
There was no.
I didn't mind.
None of the characters I wasn't invested in. So
I liked Ito, but I have a huge.
Ito was-
I'm a
yeah.
huge
Yeah, I
Christoph Waltz fan.
I liked
Yeah.
her and Ito.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess she
I
was
just didn't
fine.
care about Hugo.
No,
Yeah.
me
Couldn't
neither.
wait for that motherfucker to die.
Yeah. And I thought that Jennifer Connelly's character was actually pretty interesting.
Yeah,
I wish
she has
she'd seen more of her.
one of the like her and Christoph Waltz really are the only ones that have arcs.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say that. Yeah.
She's playing it real like personality-less. Like she's kind of she didn't emote much.
Yeah.
She was
She's just-
fine. She's Jennifer Connelly.
She's
I
just
mean,
Yeah, it's good.
ambition. She's
Yeah.
like pure ambition.
Well,
and then
and-
she realizes
and-
that she's a doctor and a mother, so she should.
Bitterness and grief.
Yeah.
yeah, she sort of has to say it out loud
Yeah.
because she just sort of takes a turn. She
And then her brain and
Sorry.
eyes end up in a jar.
Yeah,
With
and hands.
And
yeah,
then-
her hands too.
I like the moment where she's watching him die in her arms and she makes a phone call real quick.
Yeah.
And like no one hears it.
She FaceTimes Mahershala
yeah, it
Ali.
was
Yeah.
really weird because it's like, is nobody hearing
You
anything?
gonna hear that?
Yeah.
She's like 3 feet away.
Yeah.
I was like, don't I was thinking,
pretty
don't
sweet.
FaceTime him. He's gonna know.
Yeah, and she's like, they're gone. He could just be like, really?
No, they're
Because
not. I see-
hear her in
yeah.
the background.
Yeah.
Who are you with? That's what some-
I'll tell you where I saw Robert Rodriguez the most is that he doesn't pussyfoot around with the violence.
Well, yeah, the bar scene. This
It
is
was
why I was
delicious
like,
violence.
why I was like, I might like this if it goes in this direction. Is the bar scene when they're all fighting and Christoph Waltz walks in with a hammer, looking like a vampire hunter. I started getting flashbacks to fucking From Dusk Till
Dust till
Dawn.
dawn, yeah.
And I was like, okay, this feels like Rodriguez, but it generally like most of the other scenes didn't because it felt like he was.
A lot of it felt like Zack Snyder to me.
Really, a lot of it for me felt like he was just trying to hit these, like he's just doing a job where he's just like, okay, we got to get this scene, we got to get this out, we got to do this. And the moment he got to do action, he had fun with it.
Yeah.
But I don't think just the narrative made me think like I don't think he likes.
I was thinking the same thing,
Like,
Dave.
yeah, I don't think he was very attached to
think he
the
was invested.
narrative.
Well, yeah. I mean, he didn't write it.
Yeah, and it.
He usually writes his movies.
Yeah.
The fact that Cameron did write did co-write the screenplay
Yeah.
really shows, I think.
There was
Well,
it
I
felt-
mean, to be fair to James Cameron, he's made some of the greatest movies ever.
yeah.
Yes, this is
But
not one
there's-
of them.
No,
Though.
it's
When
not
I
one
think
of
of
them.
Robert Rodriguez, I think he does a lot of stuff that's similar to Tarantino at times. He'll do voiceovers. He'll do really weird cinematography. He'll do all these things that it felt like in this one he wasn't passionate enough to. The scenes that weren't action were just pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
They were very beautiful. Like the lighting was good and stuff. Again, it's a very competent film.
Yeah.
But there was nothing like just watched King Arthur. That's a terrible movie. But Guy Ritchie, he really gives it the Guy
He
Ritchie
really gives it the
treatment.
Guy Ritchie. Like you can watch it and be
Yeah.
like, "This is Guy Ritchie."
This
Oh,
felt
he's
like
fun.
this felt like the first note Rodriguez got was like, look, just do the movie normal and like get paid. Like it didn't feel like it felt like he was, I don't know, kind of not being who he is.
Yeah. I think.
Like even Spy Kids feels like a Robert Rodriguez film. A movie I love.
No, yeah, I mean, he
a
wrote
great
that
movie.
one too.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I don't know.
yeah,
I wish they'd gone darker with this movie. Honestly,
it's
there was
pretty
way-
dark.
They murder a dog, which
but
was pretty cool.
I feel like it didn't
Heads
go
up.
dark enough. It
Yeah.
was like it got there, and it sort of towed a line, but it should have gone overboard because what they're asking us to accept is horrifying.
Yeah,
And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
again I keep coming back to Hugo. Hugo ruins everything for me. That
I mean,
romance.
yeah, I don't know. I felt like if it was any darker, I really wouldn't have liked it.
I mean, I like that they killed a dog.
Yeah, me
kill
too.
that dog. Jeff
She's got-
Fahey did not appreciate them killing that dog.
Yeah.
I like
By the way, Jeff Fahey is in this movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, spoilers: when you see her in the trailer and she's got red under her eyes, that's dog blood.
It
Dog
is.
blood.
I was gonna say I loved that. That was so cool.
That
Dog
is
blood.
dog
Like,
blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing I immediately thought of is, oh my god, I'm gonna do that next time we play D&D.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Dog blood under my
Do
eyes.
that.
Even the dog I didn't care too much about.
Yeah.
They did that thing where they grows a really cute, scrappy dog.
Yeah.
So it's almost funny when it dies because
Yeah.
it's so grotesque of an act.
It is pretty. It's pretty. This,
It's like in a comedy when like a little old lady's crossing the street and gets hit by a car. And
Yeah,
it's like supposed to be. I mean, it was effective in the
Yeah.
movie, but it was just to me, it was like, oh, that's the worst thing he could do.
yeah,
It's pretty
Yeah.
funny.
it's this movie was in my opinion startlingly gruesome for what it is.
The word grotesque does come to mind
Yeah.
for me
Yeah.
because it's like,
For the
It's not-
body snatching.
yeah, it's not gory.
No,
No.
but it's
It's not bloody. It's that the premise, the
horrifying.
premise of how the characters look is grotesque, which is probably the strongest part of this movie to me.
yes. I liked the world. I liked the way all the cyborg stuff worked
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
it's-
neat.
or looked rather.
Visually, it's great.
Yeah, like I had fun watching this movie for the most part.
Yeah, I am interested to see to find out how so many people lost their limbs, like in the first place.
Well,
like, why is everyone
I
a
assume you
cyborg?
get augments.
Yeah, I think it's opted, which
Why would you do? Well,
I don't
I know
understand.
I would want to.
There
but,
you go.
Yeah, but most people don't have nerve damage.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but like if you were going to be like, I mean, like Christoph Waltz said, he used to work exclusively for the sport, and like all those guys in Motorball are getting robotic enhancements to make them awesome.
Oh no, I mean the regular guy you see in the very beginning. He's just a working man. He's getting an arm worked on, and you'd think that'd be really expensive.
Yeah.
and
Well,
difficult.
yeah, and he says something about his work or so I assume you lose limbs working in the factory. I
Yeah,
assume
they
people
didn't-
want to get cybernetic augmentations just to have them.
yeah, they did a good job at like kind of having an even spread where you could see regular people too.
Yeah.
And so I was like willing to accept that. Like I was willing to accept most of this world until that scene where they leave, and I was like, wait, you can just
Yeah.
leave?
Yeah.
And that was the thing that like that was the thing that screwed me up with the world itself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just thought it was post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, me too. I was like, why would they stay in that dirty, dusty, awful city when there's just a wonderful wall made of water on the outside
Yeah.
and then it's lush,
That was a cool
green,
wall.
heavenly wilderness?
Yeah, and like I like the look of this movie a lot, but I almost feel like the look is the downfall, which is that it's that idea of they're just like, this all looks really cool, but I feel like they never thought about
Why
what
do we
it does.
live here?
Yeah, like that wall of water. I was just like, why? That looks really cool, but what does that do?
Yeah, because it can't water all the crops. It can only, and also you don't want, if you're doing farming, you don't want water continuously falling on your plants.
Right. It's just like it's a really good looking movie with a lot of really good looking action sequences, with not much going on beyond that. I don't think in terms of story.
Yeah, the story was the weakest point for me, for sure.
Yeah, and personally for me, like I said, I left during one of the action sequences because I didn't feel like there was anything at stake anymore. Because it was just like I was getting the Transformers feeling, where the action's way better than Transformers than Michael Bay, but Michael Bay is good at action. But it was like, since the story wasn't really making much sense, and since I didn't really know why the bad guys were mad or I still don't really know what the hero wanted. Like, I just couldn't get invested. Like, what? She wanted her memories.
That's all she really wants.
Yeah.
She just wants to remember, and we get some pieces of it, but like, there's no closure at all.
Yeah, and I don't get why she was mad.
No, me neither.
At the main bad guy. At what point did she decide that he was the guy to go after?
I don't know.
Because it was her memory.
Yeah,
she remembered that he was the enemy.
Well, she remembered that her sergeant or whatever told her to destroy the city, to destroy Xylem.
That's a real bummer.
But anyone else notice that the tubes, like Hugo was like, yeah, cargo moves up there, but when they cut the tube open, it's a bunch of green stuff. Like,
really?
Is it sewage? I mean, you remember the motorball?
Yeah,
chase
that might.
sequence?
Yeah, there's a little bit. There might be something like. Oh no, that's not. I think that's just a sewage pipe.
That's just a regular sewage.
That wasn't one of the big
Okay.
pipes going up to the thing.
It looked
I
almost
did-
the same. It
This
was confusing.
Yeah, this bothered me a little bit, but it's not that much. Is they have the flashback to the weird saws on the tube.
Yeah.
And then like 5 minutes later they do it, and I felt like this isn't a big criticism, but like if you're gonna foreshadow something, like you should do it like farther from the thing.
Because then we're just like, okay, we're waiting. A lot of this movie felt like I was waiting. Okay, so this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and then it leaves you. So, like you said earlier, Blue Balls is pretty much the perfect way to
Yeah.
describe how I felt after this movie. Just like, damn, no climax.
It's a bold ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really
gunning
it's
for a
the ending
sequel.
of they're saying they're flat out saying you have to keep watching.
We'll have to wait at least another 2 years before we even find
Yeah,
out.
which is why I again get the Hunger Games feeling from this. Is
Yeah.
that it feels like it's
They're
mostly
setting up
geared
a
towards.
franchise.
Yeah, it's like a young adult franchise. It's a PG-13 film. The romance was they felt like they like some producer was like, you have to have a romance in this. So they like kind of shoehorned it in.
They kill him twice, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, they
it's
do.
pretty funny.
He gets put on his clankety clank robot body, and then when he tries to jump over the blades and just cuts it in 98 pieces,
That
I
was-
fucking
yeah, that was
lost
hilarious.
it.
We all laughed so
I was
hard.
just laughing
'Cause
my
he
ass off.
He almost makes it, but he doesn't.
He kind of doesn't almost
Yeah.
make it. He
She
jumps
should've just
right
picked
into
his
that
ass
shit.
up.
And what kills me about that scene is she's just like, you don't understand. Listen. I'm like, no, tell him. Giant spinning blades, bitch. Let's
Well,
get out of here.
She didn't seem to know, did she?
Yeah, she did.
Oh, right, because she had
Remember?
just remembered.
she had
Yeah, the
remembered it.
memory.
Right.
She had
That,
just
that
had
was the
that
thing I was
memory
just talking
flash.
about.
That's
I
why
guess
would've
she
been
didn't
like-
know it was coming at that moment.
But she knew they were there.
Yeah.
And she was like, you don't understand. Listen to me. And she was not really telling him anything. And I hate that.
Yeah,
that
okay.
saying- That whenever I see that in a movie, it drives
Right.
me crazy.
That does bug me more. Also, just that she has that specific memory coincidentally, and then wakes up and they're like, "Why he's going up the thing?" And it's like, "Well, I just had that fucking dream."
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not. Again, like recommending this movie. I'm not. I don't think it does anything bad. Like it's not an evil movie.
No.
No, if you want to
It's
watch
just-
like a cool looking
Yeah.
action movie, it's
Yeah.
fine.
I'm just already tired. Like when they end on that cliffhanger, I was like, I'm already sick of the sequels.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh no, this is gonna be a whole
Yeah,
thing.
because you're going to have to go through yet another thing before we get through the final battle.
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
it's gonna-
okay, we're going to have to watch her play motorball a billion times.
And there'll be another weird romantic subplot.
Yeah.
yeah, I
It's
mean,
like gonna
well,
be like the Maze Runners or the.
hopefully
fucking-
they hope. I mean, Hugo's dead,
Yeah.
so
they'll bring something
Of
else.
course.
Yeah,
Like it
maybe.
just, this thing it stinks of young adult
It really does.
dystopian to me. Even though it's not technically one, I feel like that's the crowd they're going for.
Yeah, I felt that way too.
Which again, I didn't hate all of it. Like I didn't hate the Hunger Games, but I never finished. Like I watched the first two Hunger Games, kind of like, oh, this is fun, I'm liking it, and then just woke up one day and there was a third one. I was just like, I'm done. Like
Yeah.
I don't care. Like it's that where it's like I didn't need to see how it would end or
Yeah.
anything. It's just like
yeah, I think
because you know how it'll end. They win. And
Yeah.
like,
sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, 'cause you know that city falls, everyone in Iron City's going to die.
Yep.
It'll fall diagonally. That's why there's nothing on the outside.
Oh, right. They're gonna. It's gonna fall into the farmlands and the jungle that we've all.
Yeah,
left
it's gonna
conspicuously
kill all their
open.
agriculture.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
and
then
everybody
they'll
will
of
die anyway.
starvation.
Yeah.
And that is what's going to happen. Is she's going to become? I'm just going to go ahead and predict how this goes. Although what you've said has made me believe maybe they won't do this, but it feels like she's going to become a fucking motorball champion, and they're going to like deny her going up to that city. And maybe that's the second movie, and the third movie she'll go up to the city, and it's going to be, and everybody's going to have a great life up there, and she's going to fight Edward Norton
I'll tell you one thing
and like
about
kill him in his office or something. But
that city is controlled by a giant computer.
yeah,
It has a main computer that's basically runs it, and apparently Nova has this really sort of like this son who's a DJ. His name is Chaos, and I know
this is sounding terrible.
yeah, he leaves the city.
The moment a DJ comes into the mix,
Yeah.
I would love it. The
Nova
ultimate.
leaves. He leaves the city because he wants to do experiment on living humans, and I
who
don't.
doesn't?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we all want. I want the big villain of one of these movies to be a goddamn DJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Well, you may get your wish because that's what Chaos is. He's like a frail DJ.
Yes.
Yeah. The people in the city, on the floating city, that's the other thing. Are we to believe that's better up there? Because,
Yeah, we never see. We don't
there's
know.
beautiful fucking farmlands and jungle and
Yeah.
like swimming. Like, it can't possibly be that great up there. They're fucking floating up there.
Yeah.
Like, they might have nice stuff. It's a very Elysium.
Yeah.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
I was thinking, oh, this is Elysium. That's the first thing that
Yeah.
actually popped through my mind when we were watching it.
It's Elysium if the Earth doesn't look that bad.
yeah.
Except for the one city.
Yeah. It's like nobody seems to be living in desperation except for the cyborgs who get grabbed in the street. Everyone else seems pretty cool
Yeah.
with Iron City. Like, the kids are happy. They have this game that they don't wear any padding for, even
Nope.
though it's concrete. I mean, how many kids die playing motorball, do you think?
A lot.
hope.
We saw like 8 people die playing motorball.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean street motorball. Like, all those...
So we can assume if people are getting killed at the professional level.
yeah.
Yeah. None of this might matter. We'll see if there's sequels.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine.
I want to see Chaos now. I want to see Chaos.
Right?
Chaos, the sickly DJ.
I want a
This-
DJ.
Yeah, this is that again.
You ever
it's
murder
like
a DJ?
It's like the Avatars where it's like they're competent, but it's like James Cameron, Robert Rodriguez. I don't know, man. Like,
It's a weird mix.
I don't want to criticize them for doing something that's pretty original as it's
Yeah.
based off. But it's sort of like I feel like there's other things you could be doing. I don't know.
I think that, I don't know, this may be really pretentious, but I feel like we've got some kind of sickness where we need a sequel and a trilogy for every single idea. It's
Oh,
like
that's just how
Oh, yeah, that's just
financing
how-
works in
Yeah,
Hollywood.
now everything's a franchise.
Yeah, it
Everything's
has
a
to be.
tentpole
so
film.
Yeah.
annoying. It's just like,
It really
just give
is.
us a standalone movie, please.
Yep. My biggest problem with that is it's the simple fact that like in movies it lowers the stakes
Yeah.
now. Because it's still movies.
Yeah, 'cause
like
the final battle's not going to come for 5
or like
years.
Or you just know
won't
the
necessarily
characters aren't
die.
in danger. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the ending of fucking Infinity War, where it's just like, look, they're all dead. Anyway, Spider-Man Black Panther's coming, which again, I like Infinity War. I don't want to be too, because this is also a thing that's happened forever. I think, like Indiana Jones, you don't think he's gonna die.
No, I never
in
thought
movies.
Indiana Jones was going to die. I just wanted to watch him go on another adventure.
Yeah,
That tone was very different, in fairness.
Yeah.
The tone was all zany and wacky and had John Williams, playing the fun.
I think there's a movie like this.
This movie's not fun.
A movie like this would have been more interesting if it concluded, I think.
Yeah,
Hell
it should have. It should have had an ending.
Yeah. Because it had no ending
it's
whatsoever.
weird.
Yeah, even
It's
if
weird
it
that it
concluded
ends
in a way
when it
that she
does.
dies or something. Like, it's the tone of the film. It's just like, I don't need this to be a tentpole film.
No.
I would have liked a complete film.
Yeah, and I feel like if you're going to make a sequel, make it because the first movie was so good that everyone wants more. Don't just assume that they're,
Yeah.
If a movie
Yeah,
can't
it's like The
stand on
Matrix,
its own,
which isn't
why watch it?
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. That might just be me.
No, I have that feeling too a lot. It just sort of, work on your first film first. Don't call your shots in advance.
Yeah.
There's too many movies doing that.
Well, like we mentioned with the Guy Ritchie King Arthur is supposed to be the first in a series of 5.
Yeah, there's a lot. We've said
It's maybe wait and see if we like the first one.
I wrote about that at Cracked, where there was a lot of stuff. Like, I think Jurassic World had this.
Yeah.
A lot where they put out the film and people point out all these plot holes and problems, and the director comes out and goes, "Oh yeah, we're planning on having those answered in the next movies." And it's like, you got to make us want another movie first. Give us a complete movie.
Douche.
Yeah, douche.
Yeah, seriously. I guess if I sound bitter, it's because I was excited about this. I was excited to go see this movie, and I was so disappointed.
I was like, I said it before we went, where I was like, I'm excited to see this, but if it's bad, then it's bad. Like, I could have gone either way, and I'm sort of still like, I do think it's a bad movie, but I'm not going to say that I hated it.
No, I didn't hate it. I just didn't think it was good.
I was just kind of frustrated with it.
Yeah.
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 It's one of those movies that makes, it's a climaxless movie that has so many good ideas and so many beautiful, it's a beautiful movie. Beautiful. And
the critic rating is about 60% from critics, and I would say that's accurate to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's
feels
about
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although apparently 96% of Google users gave it a thumbs
I know,
up.
and again, the audience score is like 9, but it's like opening day.
Well, if I was going to use like a thumbs up, thumbs down metric, I'd probably give it a thumbs up.
Also, I looked around, and the other people who were watching were all making out, so a lot of people weren't really watching the movie.
Some people were watching. The people next to me left.
I saw that.
I saw that too.
Yeah. I think,
But the people around us were all they weren't even watching.
Yeah, I got a little bored. Yeah. I don't know.
It's a good movie for that. If you need to go in the theater and make out with your boyfriend or girlfriend, go to see Alita Battle Angel.
If you want to fuck, put Alita on.
Handy in the
You want to get a hando?
Hando theater.
Put Alita on.
Yeah. Again, I'm not. If people see the trailer and they're excited for it, fucking just go see it. But
maybe get high first.
Yeah.
You might enjoy it more. You don't need to be able to pay attention to this movie to enjoy
Not
it.
really. All you need to know are those are the good guys. Those are the bad
Yeah,
guys.
I
That's
just
it.
have fun.
I don't want to reward the type of filmmaking where they're like, it has a lot of cool
Yeah.
scenes. Who cares if we actually make it?
That's
the
how I
plot
feel
makes
too.
sense. Like, I don't want movies. I want audiences to care if there's no story.
Plot's always been the most important part for me. That's what makes or breaks a movie for me. Even if it doesn't look good, I can enjoy it if it has a great plot.
Yeah, and it's what makes most movies good.
That's kind of the point of a movie.
Yeah, every classic
But I feel
film
like we're
that's
losing
good.
that.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
a lot of
exactly.
times, yeah.
We're more concerned about how it looks, I feel like, lately.
I don't know, because this also isn't a hit yet. I would argue that the most popular films that we have right now, which are the Marvel films, they're not. I know a lot of people who can't stand them, but they still have good characters in them, and they have
I think they're
plots that aren't gibberish, and so it's like audiences aren't stupid. Like, they're going for those things.
Yeah, they've got a formula worked out that does work.
But yeah, I know what you mean. Is I get that. I got that with the Jurassic Worlds. I get that with certain things where like I briefly lose hope because it's like, this piece of crap is so popular, and it's like,
And I feel like they're using our nostalgia just
But again, this isn't.
And yet it's not for us. It's for the newer, the younger people. But they didn't grow up with this. We did, so it's awkward.
I mean, I
feels
didn't grow
weird.
up with this,
I
but
didn't grow
yeah,
up with it
I don't know.
either.
This
Oh,
isn't. This
sorry.
again.
I
This
guess I
isn't.
did.
Well, you saw it in a comic book store.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a comic book store where I was babysat all the time, and so I was just aware of it. I thought it looked
Right on.
really interesting, but
But yeah, I don't. It's not a huge piece of crap. It's just.
no, it's pretty, very pretty. I think
People get fucked up in it. If you're into that,
Yeah,
if you're
those
into
are
watching
pretty
people
cool.
get fucked up.
Yeah,
So yeah, I guess get high and see it. That
Yeah.
sounds about right.
get high, see it, make out, get a hand job.
Yeah, get a hand out.
Yeah. Yeah, do some
Because
meth
it's
and
the
get a
only
hand
satisfaction
job.
you're gonna get from this movie.
All right. I think that's an episode.
Yeah.
I think that's enough. We've
Yeah.
talked enough.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah. Do we have
Mari-
anything we want to plug?
Yeah, Marina, anything to plug?
Yes. If you like battle, you can come and watch me play Skyrim. I'm going to kill so many people, steal all the sweet rolls in the world, build a candy house, start an evil orphanage. Tuesdays at 2:00.
You can build a candy house?
I'm going
Sort
to
of.
make it happen. I'm gonna
Just
build
gonna
one.
fill our house with
I gotta
candy.
try that.
I'm gonna build a
fucking
candy
game.
house.
Oh really?
I have the strings all set out and everything. I'm gonna
fuck?
make a house of taffy and sweet rolls.
That sounds
and
great.
Boiled cream treats, honey nut treats.
Holy shit.
Yep.
Yep. It's the fantasy adventure you've always
This is-
wanted.
Apparently, I haven't played this game, and this is the thing that's like, oh, I gotta play that game.
Build a
And
candy
you can even
house.
have a dog.
Oh,
you
man.
can adopt a bunch of dogs. Yeah, you'd love it, Dave. But yeah, you can find me on Twitch at Darth Marina, and also on Twitter where there will be announcements.
Sweet.
Cool.
Yeah.
And of course, as always, you can follow Dave and I on patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed, where you can support us and listen to some exclusive shows, and we do some exclusive streams with patrons. It's a thing that is there that you can do.
Yeah,
It's so much fun. You should.
You can also find us in your heart.
Yes.
All
Take
right.
it out of your chest and
Yeah,
look.
take it out of your chest and offer to sell it for your loser
Oh, yeah.
boyfriend. All right, say goodbye,
The
everyone.
thing powered the whole city.
Yeah, it could.
Let me sell it. She knew that, and she was like, "Let me sell this."
Oh, yeah, because, yeah. All right.
Love makes you stupid. Happy Valentine's Day.